You ever notice how the loudest people in the room are usually the ones with the least power? The ones flaring up at every small thing, shouting, defending themselves, throwing words like weapons, and yet deep down you can tell they're not in control. Now imagine someone walks into that same room. They don't flinch, they don't defend, they don't explain. They hear the noise, they see the games being played, but their face is unreadable. You can't tell if they're amused, annoyed, or completely indifferent. And that right there is power. Most people think power comes from speaking, from reacting, from showing they won't be disrespected. But the truth, power comes when you don't need to react at all. Because when you react, you hand over the keys to your emotions, your energy, your state of mind, and you give them to whoever or whatever triggered you. The moment they see you flinch, they know they can control you. The real game is not about winning every argument, clapping back with the perfect line, or proving you're right. The real game is about making your mind so still, so disciplined that no situation can shake you. You become unpredictable. You become untouchable, and that terrifies people. Think about it. When's the last time someone tried to push your buttons? Maybe it was a coworker, a family member, a stranger online. Did they get what they came for? Did you take the bait? Or did you leave them standing there, empty-handed, wondering why their little trap didn't work? This is the difference between living life on other people's terms and living life on yours. And if you can learn to react to nothing, to build an unshakable presence, you stop being a pawn on someone else's board. You become the one who decides how the game is played. Now, here's the part they don't tell you. It's not easy. Every instinct in you will want to fire back, to defend, to prove. But if you can master this one thing, if you can train yourself to hold your ground in silence, you'll command a respect you could never get by talking. People will start treating you differently, not because you told them to, but because they can feel they can't control you. And once you reach that point, the world changes. When you hear the words, "don't react," your first thought might be, if I don't say something, if I don't stand up for myself, won't people think I'm weak? That's the trap almost everyone falls into. We've been conditioned to believe that every disrespect, every slight, every misunderstanding requires an immediate defense. We think strength is measured in how fast and how loud we can push back. But the truth, that's not strength. That's insecurity, wearing the mask of confidence. Real control is not about proving yourself to the world. In every moment, real control is about having the discipline to choose when, where, and if a response is even worth your time. Most people think they're in control because they're the ones talking, but talking doesn't mean power. In fact, the person who speaks the least in the heat of the moment often has the most influence. Think about the people you respect the most, the ones whose presence fills the room before they even say a word. Do they jump in on every petty argument? Do they feel the need to justify every move? No, they move with intention. When they do speak, it matters. And the reason it matters is because they're not throwing their words away on meaningless battles. Their silence forces people to think twice, to question themselves, to fill the uncomfortable void with their own uncertainty. Non-reaction is not weakness, it's a strategy. It's the ability to stand still while someone else tries to provoke you, knowing full well that the moment you explode, they win. People who try to get under your skin want one thing: control. They want to set the tone, push your buttons, make you play their game, and the moment you react, you're no longer leading. You're following their script. There's a saying, the one who angers you controls you. Read that again. If a person can make you angry on command, they own you. If a situation can shake your mood, it's controlling you. This is why mastering non-reaction is one of the most powerful mental skills you can ever develop. Because when you refuse to react, you force life to bend around you instead of you bending around life. Of course, this doesn't mean you let people walk all over you. Non-reaction is not about accepting disrespect. It's about controlling the timing and the delivery of your response. Sometimes the most effective answer is silence in the moment and decisive action later. You're not ignoring the problem, you're just not letting your emotions dictate the solution. You're buying yourself space to think, to assess, to choose your move with precision instead of impulse. Imagine you're in a meeting and someone throws a passive-aggressive jab at you. Most people would snap back immediately, letting their frustration spill into the room. But you keep your composure. You give them nothing to feed on. You continue speaking with the same calm tone as before. Everyone in that room feels the shift. The jab doesn't land. The person who threw it looks smaller, more desperate. You've kept your dignity, and you've subtly exposed theirs. Now, let's flip the situation. Let's say you did react. You let the comment trigger you. You raised your voice. You defended yourself. Maybe you even got emotional. What just happened in the eyes of the room? You lost control. You showed them that someone else could pull you off balance with just a few words. That's not power. That's vulnerability disguised as a fight for respect. Here's the secret. People remember how you made them feel more than the words you said. When you remain unshaken, you project stability, confidence, and self-respect. When you overreact, you project insecurity, fragility, and self-doubt. Which do you want to be remembered for? Non-reaction also plays a psychological role that works in your favor. Humans hate uncertainty. When someone tries to provoke you and you give them no emotional response, it creates a gap they can't fill. They're left wondering, did it work? Did I hit a nerve? Why didn't they respond? That confusion is discomfort, and discomfort is power, your power. Think about the last time you texted someone and they didn't respond right away. Your mind probably started running scenarios. Are they upset? Are they ignoring me? Did they misunderstand me? That's the effect non-reaction can have in real life. When you don't give people instant emotional feedback, you force them into their own head. They start questioning themselves instead of questioning you. Of course, mastering this skill takes time. It means rewiring your instincts. Our ego is hardwired to defend itself, to fight for recognition, to prove its worth in every exchange. But the stronger your sense of self becomes, the less you'll need to prove anything. The silence won't feel like surrender. It will feel like ownership. Ownership over yourself, your energy, your mind. You will find that as you practice non-reaction, your entire life becomes lighter. You no longer carry the weight of every insult, every rumor, every misunderstanding. You stop explaining yourself to people who have already made up their minds. You start protecting your peace like it's the most valuable thing you own, because it is. And here's the irony, when you react less, people respect you more. They may not say it out loud, but they will sense that you're not easily moved, not easily manipulated. You become the person they think twice about approaching with nonsense, because they know they can't get the outcome they want from you. You've taken back the power they once had over you, and you've locked it down where it belongs inside you. Non-reaction is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's strength under control. It's proof that you can rise above the noise without becoming part of it. And in a world that's constantly trying to provoke you, distract you, and pull you off your path, there is nothing more powerful than being unshakable. When you react to nothing, you are not ignoring life. You are mastering it. You are choosing the high ground, not because you can't fight, but because you know you don't need to. And that is real control. Silence is often misunderstood. People think silence means you have nothing to say, that you're unsure of yourself, or that you've lost the argument. They couldn't be more wrong. True silence is not the absence of power, it's the amplification of it. It's a decision, a strategy, a choice that says, I am in control of myself, and you cannot pull me into your chaos. When you choose silence, you're not surrendering. You're dictating the terms. You're telling the other person, without a single word, that they will not get the reaction they're fishing for. You're breaking the chain of emotional manipulation that thrives on your response. Think about it. People who deliberately provoke you are searching for one thing. Your emotional energy. They want to see you angry, defensive, flustered, or broken. They want proof that they've gotten under your skin, because to them, your reaction is validation. When you stay silent, you rob them of that power. You remove the reward they were chasing. It's like playing a game where they keep swinging but realize they're fighting against air. Eventually, they exhaust themselves because they cannot control you. Silence is also a masterclass in patience. In life, you don't need to respond to every insult, every rumor, or every passive-aggressive jab. Not every situation deserves your voice. Your voice has value. Stop spending it cheaply. When you respond to everything, you dilute your power. When you reserve your words for the moments that matter, they land with far greater impact. That's why when you finally choose to speak after long silence, people listen. They pay attention because they know you don't waste your breath. And let's be clear, silence isn't passive. It's active self-command. It's saying, I refuse to lower myself to the level of foolishness. It's the understanding that some battles are won, not by charging forward, but by standing still and letting your opponent wear themselves out. Silence keeps you from saying things you'll regret. Words spoken in anger often create damage that takes years to undo, if it can be undone at all. By staying silent, you give yourself the time to think, to observe, and to choose the smartest course of action. This is why the strongest people in any room aren't always the loudest. They are the most deliberate. They don't rush to defend themselves against every criticism. They don't explain themselves to people committed to misunderstanding them. They don't feed gossip with more gossip. Instead, they allow silence to create discomfort for those trying to provoke them. And here's the truth. Silence can be deafening. It forces the other person to sit with their own words, their own behavior, and their own guilt. Sometimes the absence of a reaction is the loudest message you can send. In professional settings, silence can make you more respected. If you've ever been in a meeting where someone tries to push your buttons or discredit you, your calm, silent presence can speak volumes. It shows maturity, self-control, and confidence. In personal relationships, silence sets boundaries without confrontation. You're communicating that you won't engage in toxic dynamics, that you value your peace more than the satisfaction of getting the last word. But here's the challenge. Staying silent is hard. We live in a world where people are addicted to instant responses. You see a comment online, and your fingers itch to reply. Someone says something to your face, and you feel the heat rising in your chest, begging for a comeback. That's the trap. Your silence will always feel unnatural at first, because your ego wants to defend itself. But over time, you learn that defending yourself to people who don't matter is a waste of life. You don't have to prove your worth to anyone. Silence also gives you the advantage of information. While you're quiet, you're listening. While they're talking, they're revealing their intentions, their weaknesses, and their emotional state. People will tell on themselves if you give them enough room. And when they do, you'll know exactly how to respond, if you choose to respond at all. Some will mistake your silence for weakness. Let them. You don't need to correct every wrong assumption people have about you. Their misunderstanding isn't your burden to carry. In fact, letting them underestimate you can be an advantage. It allows you to move strategically while they think you're inactive. Then when you decide to act, it's on your terms, calmly, precisely, and effectively. Silence isn't just about ignoring negativity. It's about protecting your mental clarity. Every time you react emotionally to a provocation, you give away a piece of your focus, your time, and your inner stability. Silence preserves those things. It's a shield that protects your energy from being drained by people who thrive on drama. So the next time someone tries to pull you into their storm, remember this. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. Your silence can be your armor. It can be your weapon. It can be your strategy. And most importantly, it can be your peace. Because not reacting doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care too much about yourself to let someone else dictate your emotions. Most people think strength is loud, that it's about having the last word, raising your voice, or showing the world you won't be pushed around. But emotional discipline, that's a completely different league of power. It's not about being passive. It's about being so secure in yourself that you don't need to react instantly. You don't need to match someone's chaos with your own. It's about knowing that every outburst, every uncontrolled reaction is a withdrawal from your emotional bank account. And when you run out, you've got nothing left to lead your life with. Emotional discipline is the ability to control your feelings so they don't control you. And let me tell you, that's not something you're born with. It's something you train for. You build it in the moments when someone pushes your buttons and you choose not to bite. You build it in the moments when you're tempted to send that angry text, but you put the phone down and wait. You build it when you walk away, instead of staying to prove your point. That's discipline, the refusal to let temporary emotions dictate permanent consequences. Understand this. People will test you. Life will test you. Circumstances will tempt you to lose control, because when you lose control, you lose your power. The minute you start reacting emotionally, you're on their turf. They've pulled you into their arena where logic doesn't live, only ego, pride, and chaos. And if you want to win in life, you can't live in that arena. You must live in the arena of clarity, focus, and strategy. That's where emotional discipline keeps you. The real test isn't in moments of calm, it's in moments of fire. It's when someone says something disrespectful, when life throws you a curveball, when an opportunity is delayed, when betrayal knocks at your door. Can you still keep your composure? Can you still speak with measured words, or sometimes not speak at all? Because silence, when used with control, can be deafening. And composure under pressure makes people realize you're not someone to toy with. Every time you react out of emotion, you give away a piece of your dignity. But every time you respond with discipline, you collect respect. You create an image of someone unshakable, someone who doesn't get swayed by insults, delays, or disappointments. You become the person people think twice about provoking, not because you're aggressive, but because you're unpredictable in your calm. That unpredictability is power. But here's the truth. Emotional discipline isn't easy, and it's not supposed to be. It's a muscle. And like any muscle, it grows with resistance. That means you're going to have to feel the pressure and not flinch. You're going to have to let people think they've won an argument when really you've just chosen not to waste your energy. You'll have to hold yourself back when every fiber of your being wants to lash out. And that's the part where most people fail. They think strength is about doing something big. No, strength is often about doing nothing, when doing nothing is the hardest thing to do. Think about leaders, negotiators, warriors. The most powerful among them are not the loudest in the room. They are the ones who listen more than they speak, who observe before they act, who calculate before they move. That's emotional discipline in action. It's playing chess, not checkers. It's thinking 5 steps ahead while everyone else is still reacting to the last move. And here's where it becomes life-changing. Emotional discipline protects you from self-sabotage. How many people have ruined relationships, lost opportunities, or destroyed reputations because they couldn't control a moment of anger, jealousy, or frustration? One impulsive reaction can undo years of work. But when you have discipline, you don't just save yourself from mistakes. You position yourself to win bigger, because people trust those who stay composed under fire. If you want to live a life of true strength, then commit to this. You will not let anyone pull you out of your peace without your permission. You will not allow your emotions to be dictated by someone else's actions. You will not give away your power by reacting to every little thing. Emotional discipline isn't about suppressing your feelings. It's about mastering them so you can use them as tools instead of weapons that harm you. You want to be respected. You want to be unshakable. Then control yourself in the moments where most people lose themselves. That's where your reputation is built. That's where your strength is defined. And that's where your future is protected, not by how loudly you can fight, but by how quietly you can win. Most people lose in life not because they lack talent or intelligence, but because they fail to see the value in patience and strategy. They want instant gratification, immediate wins, quick resolutions. But in reality, the ones who thrive, the ones who truly dominate in any arena, are those who play the long game. Patience isn't about waiting around and doing nothing. It's about staying calculated, keeping your eyes on the bigger picture, and resisting the urge to act prematurely just to satisfy an emotional impulse. Strategy is about knowing when to strike, when to hold back, and when to walk away entirely. Together, patience and strategy form the foundation of lasting success and unshakable power. When you're patient, you operate from a position of control. You're not reacting to the moment, you're directing it. You're not allowing external circumstances to dictate your mood or your moves. You're making decisions that align with your ultimate vision, even if that means enduring discomfort, now for a bigger payoff later. This is where most people fall apart. They see an opportunity, they feel the urge to react, and they jump without thinking ahead. But quick moves without foresight often lead to traps, losses, and regrets. Patience teaches you to zoom out, to see the whole chessboard, and to think 3 steps ahead. That's how you win. Not just once, but consistently. Strategy is what gives patience its power. Being patient without a plan is just waiting, but being patient with a strategy is calculated dominance. You're not simply enduring time, you're using it to gather information, to study your opponent, to strengthen your position. You're assessing every variable so that when the time comes to act, you're already 10 moves ahead. Think about it. Every great leader, every world-class performer, every successful negotiator knows the importance of timing. The right move at the wrong time is still the wrong move. Strategy ensures your patience pays off. The long game requires you to detach from instant validation. It's easy to fall into the trap of wanting to prove yourself right now, to show the world you're strong, capable, and unshakable. But the truth is, proving yourself isn't the same as being successful. Sometimes, silence and inaction speak louder than any flashy display of force. Sometimes, letting people underestimate you while you quietly build your empire is the most strategic move you can make. The long game isn't about winning every small battle. It's about positioning yourself so that you win the war. To master the long game, you have to stop reacting to every trigger, every insult, every piece of bait thrown your way. People will test you, provoke you, and try to pull you into meaningless conflicts just to distract you from your mission. That's how they win, not by overpowering you, but by pulling you off course. Patience and strategy mean you don't bite the hook. You see the trap, you recognize the bait, and you choose not to engage because you know your energy is better spent elsewhere. You conserve your mental and emotional resources for moments that truly matter. This doesn't mean you're passive. Playing the long game doesn't mean you let things slide forever or avoid taking a stand. It means you're selective. It means you choose your battles wisely. When you finally move, it's not out of anger, fear, or ego. It's because you've decided it's the exact right time to strike. And when you do, the impact is undeniable. You move with precision, and you move in a way that changes the game entirely. Patience also demands that you trust the process. There will be moments when it feels like nothing is happening, when your efforts aren't paying off fast enough, when you question whether your strategy is working. That's when most people quit or switch plans impulsively, but the long game rewards those who can endure the uncertainty without panicking. You have to be willing to stay the course, to believe in the foundation you're building, even when you can't see the results yet. It's in those silent, invisible stretches of time that real growth is happening. Growth you'll only recognize later when the results explode into view. You must also accept that patience will test your ego. When you choose not to react immediately, you may be misunderstood. People might think you're weak, that you're scared, that you're avoiding the issue. But here's the truth. Weakness is letting your ego dictate your moves. Strength is keeping your ego in check, so it doesn't sabotage you. When you're playing the long game, you're not concerned with how you look in the moment. You're focused on securing the outcome that serves you best in the long run. The long game of patience and strategy transforms you into someone who cannot be easily provoked, distracted, or manipulated. You stop being a pawn on someone else's board and become the player who controls the board. Every move becomes intentional. Every step builds towards something greater. And when the moment finally arrives for you to take action, it won't be rushed, desperate, or sloppy. It will be devastatingly effective. If you want to win, not just today, but for years to come, commit to this truth. Patience and strategy will always beat impulse and emotion. The short game may give you a quick high, but the long game gives you legacy. And in the end, legacy is the only victory that matters. When you reach the level where nothing and no one can provoke a reaction out of you, you have reached a level of power that very few ever attain. This is not about being cold, emotionless, or disconnected from life. It's about being in such deep control of yourself that you decide consciously and deliberately when and how you will respond. Most people live in a constant state of reactivity. They are like leaves in the wind, tossed in every direction depending on who says what, who does what, or what happens around them. Someone insults them and they lash out. Someone ignores them and they spiral into overthinking. Someone disagrees with them and they waste hours trying to prove themselves right. All of this is a drain on energy, focus, and emotional well-being. But when you master the art of reacting to nothing, you stop playing their game entirely. You stop giving away your emotional energy to things that don't deserve it. You stop letting people pull your strings. This ability to remain unshaken doesn't come overnight. It is built through conscious practice, through choosing moment after moment not to get hooked. The world is full of bait. People will test you. Life will throw challenges at you. Some will do it intentionally to push your buttons. Others will simply act according to their nature. But whether or not they succeed in rattling you depends entirely on your inner state. You have to train yourself to pause before you respond. Not everything requires your immediate input. Not everything deserves your attention. In fact, most things don't. When you refuse to react, you starve the fire. Drama only thrives when it's fed with attention, anger, or defensiveness. But silence chokes it out. When someone tries to provoke you and you give them nothing, no facial reaction, no verbal defense, not even a flicker of irritation, you take away all their power. They can't manipulate you because you've taken yourself out of the game. You've decided that your energy is too valuable to waste on emotional tug-of-war. People think being unshakable is about being tougher than everyone else. But it's not. It's about being wiser. It's knowing that not every battle is worth fighting, that your peace of mind is worth more than being right, and that most of the noise in life is just that, noise. The unshakable person understands that reacting is often exactly what the other person wants. It validates their actions, it gives them control, and it feeds their ego. By refusing to engage, you keep control over yourself and deny them that satisfaction. Think of a rock standing in the ocean. Waves crash against it all day and all night, but the rock does not move. It doesn't get angry at the waves. It doesn't try to fight them. It simply exists, grounded and steady, letting the water pass over and around it. This is what you must become. The rock, not the wave. Life will crash into you. People will try to provoke you, but you remain anchored in who you are. Being unshakable also means you stop being a puppet to external events. If your mood changes every time something bad happens, you will live in constant turmoil. But if you decide that your mood, your peace, your focus are yours and yours alone, then nothing on the outside can take them from you. This is where your true strength lies, in knowing that your emotional state is not dependent on the behavior of others or the unpredictability of life. Non-reaction doesn't mean inaction. It means strategic action. You're not ignoring reality or pretending that things don't matter. You're simply refusing to give away your power in the heat of the moment. You choose to respond only when it benefits you, when the timing is right, and when you can do so from a place of clarity, not emotion. That's the difference between a rash reaction and a calculated move. And here's the thing, the people who master this skill become magnetic. There's something deeply attractive about a person who is calm in chaos, who doesn't get flustered, who maintains composure when everyone else is losing their head. It sends a signal, I am in control. I am not easily swayed. I am not desperate for validation or approval. I know my worth, and I protect my energy. When you react to nothing, you are no longer a victim of circumstances. You are no longer a prisoner to the moods and behaviors of others. You become a force of stability in an unstable world. And people will notice, not because you're loud, but because you're steady. They will learn that you are not someone they can rattle, manipulate, or control. They will see that you are a different kind of strong, the kind of strong that doesn't need to prove itself. In the end, being unshakable is not about never feeling emotions. It's about feeling them fully, but mastering the discipline to decide how and when they surface. It's about holding your power in your own hands and never giving it away cheaply. It's about living with the quiet confidence that you can face whatever comes your way without being dragged into chaos. And once you learn to do that, once you truly react to nothing, you become untouchable. Not because the world stops testing you, but because you stop letting it dictate who you are. In life, you are constantly given invitations to react, to anger, to disrespect, to negativity, to provocation, And most people accept those invitations without thinking, letting their emotions pull them in every direction like a puppet on strings. But when you master the ability to react to nothing, you cut those strings. You become free. This is not about ignoring reality. It's about deciding that nothing and no one gets to dictate your peace. You own your mind. You own your energy. You own your focus. Understand this, reacting instantly might feel powerful in the moment, but it actually gives away your power. True strength is quiet, composed, calculated. It's not about proving them wrong right now. It's about making sure nothing they do can ever control you. That's real control. That's real dominance. When you stop reacting, you stop feeding the drama. You starve it until it dies. You no longer give your enemies the satisfaction of seeing you break. You no longer give life to distractions that have no place in your future. Instead, you move with strategy, with patience, with intention, and over time you'll see that the person who reacts the least always wins the most. So choose to be unshakable. Choose to be in command of yourself. Because the most dangerous person in any room is not the one who talks the loudest, but the one who speaks the least and moves only with purpose. Let them wonder what you're thinking. Let them question why they can't get to you. Let your silence be the loudest statement you'll ever make. From this day forward, you react to nothing, and you rise above everything.